Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha, Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to the hopeful elect. This lesson, I want to go into how Trump didn't depict himself as Jesus Christ. He depicted himself as the magician, right? I remember seeing, I think it was yesterday, Elder Yashawamba posted like some clips on YouTube, like about 10 posts, and one of them was this, right? How Trump was the tarot card, and the picture with Trump is the same thing as the magician. So I did some research into it, digging, and then I even found this video here, which I remember seeing this video a while ago, actually. And it has here Marina Abramovich, or Abramic, however you say her last name, how she says that Donald Trump is the magician. As you can see, the title is there, to wake up the world, right? So I'm going to play this clip, get some information off of Google as well, get some precepts, and Lord's willing, this is edifying because they put this stuff in your face. You see, when he did that whole Jesus Christ thing, right, which people think it's Jesus Christ, or who they envision as Jesus Christ, it sent people in an uproar, it got people stirred up, but really they're putting their, they're doing their symbolism, they're doing their tricks, their things like that. Sorry, I just woke up. In front of your face so that you can see. They're essentially giving you subliminal messages saying, hey, we're getting ready to do something, right? So him doing that stuff was not for no reason, right? So listen to what she says.
In how, how their life is conducted, or what they're in support of.
I just to share with you one really funny opinion. But there is in Lapland, there is a group of the shamans there who do something called collective dreaming. They will go together in seclusion and do the rituals with, eating very little food and being in a solitude for a long time, and they will go and dream the dreams. And the dream have to be collective, same dream. So coming out of this dream, once of the shaman told me that actually the best thing happened in this planet right now is the Trump to be the president. I said, how is this possible? Is the best thing to happen? He said, yes, because he's so irrational, he's so crazy. That's actually create that awakening, that we finally wake up. Because before it will be another guy and everything looks similar, but he's so different than anything else. So he's the magician who waking us up. What do you think about that? That kind of theory. I know, it's speechless, I understand. But this is one opinion.
So, as you can see, obviously there's a little bit of humor there to, kind of dull everybody's senses. But she just basically said that she went and visited some shamans, and how essentially shamans, they had the dream and basically called Trump the magician, that he's here to wake everybody up. He's much different than every other president. And even when you go into Trump, let me see if I can find that real quick. He was standing under the apotheosis. If I could spell apotheosis. Oh, hold on. Let me put a little bit more. There we go. Yes, here we go. So when Trump got in office again a second time, he was standing under the apotheosis veil. And it says, during his second inauguration on January 20th, 2025, Donald Trump was sworn inside the U.S. Capitol Rotunda, placing him directly beneath the fresco, the apotheosis of Washington, right, painted in the eye of the Capitol dome. Symbolic setting. The painting, created in 1865, depicts George Washington rising to heaven, surrounded by goddesses and seated alongside divine figures, a direct representation of his elevation to God-like status. See? So him standing under that apotheosis veil represent that he is ascending to God-like status. You heard what Marina Abramovich said. What? You had other presidents and they were all similar, but he's different. Right? Now, I'm going to spoil something here a little bit. I apologize for that. But even if you watch The Boys season 5 right now, you know, a lot of times when people watch shows, they kind of pay attention more to the characters and what's being said. But look around in that first episode. In that first episode, we get introduced to the characters. Again, I apologize for spoiling this. You see Huey, MM, which is Mother's Milk, and what's the other guys? Frenchie, in the essentially concentration camp, right? But if I'm not mistaken, I think it's called Freedom Camp 47. I remember seeing that number specifically, 47. It's called Freedom Camp 47. Who is right now the 47th president of the United States? And do we not also know that's in the scriptures that what? They're going to make, which they already have, concentration camps and put people in there. And also in that show with the 4th season, when Homelander, because that's essentially, if you don't know about The Boys is based off of a comic. Just the show is slightly different because they can't put all the stuff that's in the like the comics into the show because we're living in a different time now. Maybe 15, 20 years ago, yeah, but like just to give you an idea, like that scene, I think it's the first season when we get introduced to the Deep through what's her name, Starlight, and how the Deep pretty much manipulated and said, hey, if you want to be a part of the 7, you basically got to go down on him, right? Now, they didn't show it, but, you know, they gave it a little light touch of that. But really, in the comics, it's actually worse. She actually gets assaulted by not just the Deep, A-Train, Homelander. So it's 3 dudes continuously getting, having their way with her. So just to show you, they copy certain things from the show, but not everything because we're in a different time because, you can't do the same stuff that you did back then now. Right? But they do put, things out there to tell you and show you, hey, they're getting ready to do things. They're getting ready to move on to the next phase. And at the end of season 4, I apologize for ruining it for you, but I even did a lesson on it when it came out because I thought it was very spiritual, how Homelander stood there and, they was grouping up all what they call in season 4 the Starlight Fighters or whatever, the Starlight Freedom Fighters, right? Which is interesting, right? Because they give us a label as Black Hebrew Israelites. So to show you how in that show, like the saying is, art imitates life. So in the 4th season, they pretty much rounded everybody up, or Homelander rounded up everybody that was against him and put them in those freedom camps that they would call them. And the name of the camps again was Freedom Camp 47. See? So they are getting ready to do something with this picture that was shown here, which had everybody, as you can see here, Trump removes posts appearing to depict himself as Jesus after sparking massive backlash. And as you can see the picture right there, right? Let me see if I could. I cannot. Usually I could. Okay. Right, but as you can see there, which just looking at it, yeah, you would think, this man's depicting himself as what people think is the Lord, right? Because that's very common, the garment, the light garment with the red, thing. It looks like, oh, he's depicting himself and he has his hand on somebody. So he's like healing somebody or whatever. And you got people looking up at him and things like that, right? I'm sorry. Right, and even I, Salakia, thought that even when you go to Revelation 13:11, where it talks about the beast with two horns and spake as a lamb. And when you go into that definition for keras, for horn, it goes into a mighty and valiant helper. But really, like I said, when I seen that post that Elder Yashwamba put up, this is essentially what he was depicting himself as, the magician. You see, and you can see the similarity right there. Right, hold on, let me make sure I have the right thing here. I think that might be, no, this is the one I want. Right, this is a little bit bigger so you can see. You can see the similarity there. It's the magician. That's what he was depicting himself as, not Jesus Christ. Now, this is what the magician represents. This is a tarot card reading, tarot card thing. It says the magician is the first numbered card of major arcana, represent which arcana, even they put that in video games if you ever play games like Elder Scrolls or things like that, showing you that they're putting that black magic even in your video games just to, get you involved in it. Representing manifestation, personal power, and inspired action. See, so they're getting ready to manifest what they want to do. But to everybody, it's, oh, he's depicting himself as Jesus Christ. This is blasphemy. No, he's showing you, or they're showing you, they're getting ready to manifest what they want. On the dollar bill, it says Novus Order Seclorum, right? New Order of the Ages. Now, I forgot unfortunately, the other part, but it says he has crowned our enterprise with success. See, they have an enterprise. They have a plan that they want to bring. They want to manifest, bring into action, which is what? That New World Order. So when he did that, or not him specifically, Trump, because I don't think Trump is up all time doing this. He has like a handler doing this for him. But the elites are showing you, we are getting ready to manifest what we want to do. We're getting ready to move into the next step. On the surface, it looks like, oh, this guy is doing, making himself like the Lord. No, he's showing you that what? He's the magician. He is the trickster. He is the one, when they had him stand under the apotheos, all the things are landing up. All the things make sense when you gather all the information, right? Marina Abramovich said that what? He's the magician. He's the one to wake us up. He stands under the apotheosis, or the apotheosis veil, which represents what's ascending to godhood. She said what? He's so much different from all the other presidents. See? So they're going to do something with him that's different that they didn't do with the other presidents. You see? You even have this thing that the minute he gets in office, the thought of, hey, he's gonna there's probably gonna be a third term. You've never had a third term with any president. Every president has had always 2 terms. So they're getting ready. They're showing you they want to do something. They want to manifest. They want action. They want things to be different with him, because I think he's even said he's the chosen one. They chose him specifically to be different. They want to use him to ascend to that God status that they want. So continuing, it says, while the preceding card, the Fool, represents pure potential and zero, the Magician is the point where that potential begins to shape through focused willpower. It says upright, or core meanings, upright, mastery, resourcefulness, initiative, and the ability to turn ideas into reality. Reverse, manipulation, trickery, poor planning, which everybody can see things right now, right? Everything looks like it's poorly planned. Or untapped talents that are being wasted, right? That reminds me of Isaiah 47, right? But and we'll go into Genesis as well, because that's essentially what we're dealing with there. We're dealing with the diviner. God, I hate this allergy season. This is Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 12. It says, stand now with thine enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, when thou hast labored from thy youth, from the beginning. If so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. So this showing, which to people he looked like Jesus Christ, but really it's showing him to be the magician. This is those enchantments. This is the multitude of thy sorceries. So it shows you they can't do anything else but these type of things. They have to get into this type of stuff because this is the only thing that they know. Like that's why it says, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth, right? Your youth is your young beginnings, your upbringing. So they've always done this since the beginning. So stand now with thy enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth, from the beginning, from your inception. You've done things like this. Your trickery, your deceits, you're putting things right there in people's face. Stand with those things, right? Maybe you'll be able to prevail. Maybe you'll use Trump. Maybe with him you'll be able to get that godhood that you want. Maybe you'll be able to get back the birthright that you so badly want, that you gave away. Right? Yeah, I did think of that. So it says symbolism here and imagery. Just want to get a little bit more. The magician's classic appearance, most famously in the Rider Waite deck, is packed with esoteric means hidden if I'm not mistaken, symbols. As above, so below. Yeah, when you go into that picture, one hand is up and one hand is down, as you can see there. It says one hand points to the sky and the other to the earth, signaling his role as a bridge between the spiritual and material realms. The four tools on his table, like cup, pentacle, sword, and wand, these represent the four tarot suits and the four elements. Okay, eventually this stuff goes into all. I don't get into that stuff, obviously. But that is who we're dealing with. We're dealing with essentially people who are satanic, with all the information that's come out with the island, dealing with him, Jeffrey, you know who. I'm just being a little cautious this time for my lesson, right? That they get into, they were eating children, calling them jerky if I'm not mistaken, or pizza. And it's not just them, it's the celebrities that you love, and this person's, your favorite celebrity has probably been eating jerky, eating pizza. But it's not pizza or beef jerky that we're talking about. It's little children. And the scriptures tell you of these things, right? Now I'm just going to, when you go into this definition here for serpent, right, because it wasn't a snake that was speaking to Eve, it was a man, right? And when you go to the root word of snake, it's nachash, which is what? To practice divination, divine, observe signs, learn by experience, right? Practice fortune telling, right? Marina Abramovich, when she was speaking to shamans, they had the dream, and they were fortune tellers, right? Take as an omen. See, so that's the type of people that we are dealing with, people that practice divination. And this is supposed to be a God-fearing country. Well, the scriptures speak against doing divination or practicing that type of stuff. So it shows you who they are, that they're not people of God, although they say God bless America, but what God are they talking about? Because the scriptures say, though they be Lord's many and God's many, right? Now, people are under the assumption that there are other gods, but there's only one God that made heaven and earth, which is Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. But people are under the assumption that there are other gods out there. So this is Deuteronomy chapter 18 and verse 10. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, right, which the magician is likened also unto a wizard as well, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Lord. And because of these abominations, the Lord doth drive them, which this is going into what? When the Lord used Joshua and the Israelites to what? Take out the Canaanites that were living in the land because they were doing these type of things, right? For the Lord thy God doth drive them, the Canaanites, the Jebusites, right? out of from before thee. Thou shalt be perfect with the Lord thy God. See? So the Lord is not into all these type of things. So it's showing you that these people here, right, are doing and following the same thing as the Canaanites did. Right? This is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 12. Let's start at the top. Verse 1. For thine incorruptible spirit is in all things. Therefore chastenest thou them by little and little that offend, and warnest them by putting them in remembrance wherein they have offended, that leaving their wickedness they may believe on thee, O Lord. For it was thy will to destroy by the hands of our fathers both those, O inhabitants of thy holy land, whom thou hatest for doing most odious. And when you go into that word odious, it's stink, right? And how do you react when you smell something stink? It causes your face like, oh God, what is that smell? You can't wait to get away from it. So when they were doing these things, it was an odor, a stink in the sight of the Lord, whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of witchcrafts and wicked sacrifices, and also those merciless murderers of children and devourers of man's flesh, and the feast of blood, with their priests out of the midst of the idolatrous crew, and the parents that killed with their own hands souls destitute of help. Why do you think children are always going missing here in America? Because they're taking your children, your American children, right? Always care about the kids. Well, they're taking them and doing all this type of stuff that was done back then. See, a lot of people sit there and say, oh, that was back then. We've moved past those times. No, you haven't. Your very same government officials and celebrities and people that you look up to do this type of stuff, do these ancient things, because they're into this ancient witchcraft. They're into this ancient worship. So much for the times that we're living in being so modern, and we move past those primitive things. But yet your government officials, your celebrities, people that you look up to are doing these ancient and odious works. So much for being so much for being so advanced and being so far better than the ancient world. Right? But again, going back to the apotheosis or apotheosis veil, that is using Trump to essentially step into godhood, and they have a plan, right? Right? The magician represents manifestation, willpower, right? Intended, if I'm not mistaken, what did it say? Intended, inspired action, right? So they want to do things, they want to get things done, right? And Psalm, the 2nd chapter, tells you that. Psalm 2:1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? And when you go into that word rage, it doesn't mean actually getting angry. But the Hebrew word there is ragash, which means what? To conspire, to plot. So they have an idea, and we know what that is, the New World Order, right? And to show you, even the brother Ashiar brought out some information how the character Homelander in The Boys represents Donald Trump. And this is not spoilers. They already put it out there in in the trailer, so you hear it being said. Is that Actually, let me see if I can find it so you can hear it yourself. Oh, I got rid of it. Right, but let me make my point, and we'll get that after. Right, so it goes into conspire, to plot. The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. Right? Read that in a different translation. See? NLT says, let us break their chains, they cry, and free ourselves from slavery to God. So it shows you that they don't want to follow the ways of the Heavenly Father. They may say, God bless America, but they don't want to do the things of the Heavenly Father. They have their own plans, their own things that they want to conspire, bring into action, right? Manifest, which is their New World Order. That's what they want to do. They want to do their own thing, not follow the ways of the Heavenly Father. Let me see if I can find that for you. If I can't, I'll just say it, but sometimes it's best when you, let me put The Boys. Season 5 trailer. Oh shit, Season 5. Oh yeah, episode 3 came to that. I think episode 3 kind of goes into what this trailer's gonna show. Let me put short trailer. Because Homelander essentially says, you gotta prepare America for my ascension. I think this is it. Fair use, fair use.
We ain't surviving this fucking war. We are dead men walking.
Oh, mama, I'm in fear for my life.
I'm gonna keep fighting.
From the long arm of the law.
And if you can't, then I'm just gonna fight for both of us.
You wouldn't be the first to throw their life away in a war. But you would be the first to save the world doing it. So how about it, you lot? One last go? I'll take that as a yes.
A reckoning is coming.
Even if I have to drag your broken fucking carcasses over the finish line, we are going all the way, no matter the cost, till the job's fucking done.
Okay, give me a second. Let me see if I can find this. 'Cause I've been seeing this shit all the time before the season came out, and now all of a sudden can't find it. Alright, but you heard Homelander say a reckoning is coming, but alright, screw it. We ain't gonna move on here. But, and there was a short trailer where essentially Homelander says, we have to prepare America for my ascension. Right? And then it switches to Firecracker. She's like, praise be. And she's like, so what is it? Then he smiles. And then essentially Homelander is looking for something called V1, which is, if you know in the show, Compound V, which essentially gave them their powers. And V1 essentially would make Homelander immortal. So that way he doesn't have to worry about dying. Because in the... I almost spoiled something there. So Salakia, almost spoiled something, but he can die, essentially. You know, Homelander may be the strongest of all the supes, but he's still a human with power, so he can still die. So essentially with V1, which is what he's looking for, that's why he says we have to prepare America for my ascension, right? And he wants to become essentially immortal. The essentially, we'll see how the show goes on, but essentially probably the only superhero that's immortal. And so that's what he's looking for in eventually in the show, something called V1, which is the first, or one of the first iterations of the Vought chemical compound, whatever it is. So upon Trump standing under that apotheosis, you're seeing it all now. The brother Ashiar brought out information how the writer or director of the show, Eric Kripke, that's his name, he also did Supernatural as well, how Trump, or Homelander, excuse me, represents Trump. Trump standing under the apotheosis, him rising to godhood. Homelander wants to rise to godhood, being immortal. We know the plans of the elites, they essentially want to be gods on earth. You see how they're all putting it out there in front of you? Isaiah 47:12, stand now with thy enchantments and the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. See, it's all there that they're putting it in front of you, but of course, on the first thing people thought was, oh, he's depicting himself as Jesus Christ. But no, he's showing you that he's the magician. He's the one that they want to use to manifest what they want, to take action. They want to do things differently with Trump. We believe that Trump is the last guy. We believe that Trump can be the guy to bring in the MOTB, to institute World War III. To me personally, I can't see, we'll see how things go. But me personally, I can't see anybody else but Trump. Trump is just the perfect guy to bring about World War III, to bring in the MOTB, to bring in what they want. He's perfect. He has the arrogance, the way that he acts, the things that he says. He is literally the perfect guy that they have there. Not Obama, not Clinton, not Bush, none of them. They didn't. This guy is the perfect character. He is the guy. So, but we'll see how things go. We'll continue to watch. But just wanted to bring this out, and I hope and pray that this video has been edifying. In ending, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to those elect. Shalom.